An ex-rapper who disguised himself as a Deliveroo driver in the UK to carry out 3 shootings has been jailed.
Beds on my back, I need to get off the strip. Let's pop a couple says I'm trying to get to a brick. So I'm buttoning up the pebs, cutting out the fringe.
Apparently this guy went from pursuing a rap career throughout the years to turning into a hitman that would carry him out on a Deliveroo bike. And people say the power of the tongue is crazy. He's even speaking about doing stuff on a bike in an old music video from back in the day.
At the end of the week, I got a handful of cash. 5s and 10s, 20s and 50s. I'm out on my Reggie scraping up all the kids.
The Jazz Reid case unfolded as a series of 3 targeted shootings in the Ladbroke Grove, North Kensington / Notting Hill area of northwest London in late 2024. Reid, a 33-year-old drug dealer from Uxbridge, disguised himself as a Deliveroo driver each time to approach victims in urban settings. Prosecutors described the attacks as carefully planned and executed with precision, involving burner phones, hire cars, and stored modified e-bikes and Deliveroo branded gear. He was born June 1st, 1992 and had a long-term involvement in drug supply, starting from the age of 9. He had prior convictions of drug offences, assault, and served a 5-year prison sentence in 2013 for conspiracy to supply cocaine. He was described by the police as a prolific criminal in the Ladbroke Grove area, with firearms central to his offending in this escalation. His lifestyle was tied to drug dealing, though no gang membership was confirmed. So October 9th, 2024 was the first shooting in the Notting Hill area. Reid drove a hired car from Uxbridge home to Ladbroke Grove address, where he stored his modified e-bike and his Deliveroo rucksack. He cycled to the victim's home, approached the communal front door and fired 2 shots, hitting a 27-year-old in the fire. The victim suffered serious injuries and this was classed as a wounding with intent. But it was November 11, 2024, the second shooting occurs in Nottingdale. He used the same sort of tactic, a hire car, disguised, changed into the e-bike with the Deliveroo gear, and then target an address linked to a 34-year-old man. He fired 4 shots at the property, and this time no one was hit, but neighbours heard gunfire and reported it to the police. This was charged as a possession of a firearm with ammo and intent to endanger life. But then he targeted that same man again on November 24, 2024. Around 2 weeks later, the third shooting, Reid travelled again to Uxbridge by hire car, changing to Deliveroo gear and approached on an e-bike. He located the same 34-year-old man from the November 11 attempt we just spoke about in a stationary car with his family members. He's with his 8-year-old daughter, celebrating her birthday that day at a trampoline park outing, and her younger sister and others. Reid fired 11 shots in total. The father was hit 5 times, back, chest, abdomen, pelvis, and had life-altering injuries, unlikely to walk again. This was an attempted murder. But even more sad in this situation was the fact that the girl was hit as well, twice in the buttocks and foot, with serious injuries and now suffering with PTSD, OCD, flashbacks and nightmares, and this was a wounding with intent. The family is left traumatized with no prior link between Reid and the victims. The arrest occurred just a couple days later. Armed police arrested Reid near Uxbridge home while he was in a hire car.
Give space, give space, give space, give space. Got it here, mate. Clear. Right, stay your hands where you can see on the feet. Right, mate, I've obviously, you've been arrested under suspicion of attempted murder.
A search recovered the first firearm under a concrete slab at a patio at his address. Forensics linked it to the shootings. Additional evidence was CCTV of his movements, disguises, and the hire car and e-book records and phone data. They found another firearm that he had as well, and later seized the moped post-trial. Now, for some reason, he thought the Deliveroo uniform would be a good disguise for him to blend into the public. There is a lot of them around in the London area, but it's actually been designed to stand out and glow, so they get easily recognized on the road because they're on a bicycle. It has the opposite effect. It actually draws more attention to you. And he isn't the first person to do this. There was actually a duo of Just Eat drivers were jailed for murdering a teenager. This sort of tactic has happened before. I guess they think they will blend into society on these bikes and not be cool. There was a man that was 18 posing as a Just Eat delivery rider, and he ended up taking life. A 16-year-old. He was wearing a Just Eat jacket and driving around on a moped, approached the victim without raising suspicion and shot him in the chest and back outside of a block of flats in broad daylight. The gun was a converted pistol, reportedly fell apart in his hand after firing. In that case, he didn't raise any suspicion coming to that 16-year-old to harm him. It just looked like a Just Eat driver. Obviously, for them to carry out the attack, they haven't actually got to sign up and be an actual driver, because numerous places you can get these online uniform on eBay and just order it. they just wear it out. But like I said, in the areas they carried out these attacks, there is CCTV everywhere that they've been picked up on, and the jackets are actually designed to make them stand out in public even more. So in this court case at Crown Court, we need to talk about his defense, because he was claiming that he was set up here. So let's see what he had to say. Apparently, one of the weapons that was recovered underneath a concrete slab outside his home, which is one of the weapons used in his attack. Given evidence at the Old Bailey trial on Wednesday, Reed told the jurors the gun was planted as part of a plot to set him up over a £10,000 drug debt. He claimed to have handled a gun during an earlier incident in which he himself was shot and attacked. The cross-examining prosecutor said, "Are you surprised they didn't try to kill you? You told us you were set up and the gun was planted." Reed said he was shot, stabbed and attacked with a hammer. "Apart from what you told us, do you have any other proof that you've been set up?" And he had said no. Reed confirmed he was arrested for conspiracy to supply Class A drugs in 2012 and sent to prison the following year after trial. He said he'd become aware in 2021 that he was being pursued over a £10,000 drug debt. He said despite making money from drug dealing, he also had a gambling habit. So by 2024, he has still not repaid the debt. He added, "I didn't want to sell drugs no more and they ordered me to be shot." Mr. Goodman suggested Reed had not mentioned the debt and drug dealing in his initial defense case statement because it was not true. The defendant denied it and insisted around the time of the shooting he was at a family celebration and buying cannabis. On his failure to explain the situation to police after his arrest, it was your decision whether you could tell the police you'd been set up and that is not your gun and that you are being framed and there's people out to get you. And it's all to do with your drug debt in 2021, which is still affecting you in 2024. They could have helped you and investigated the case if they knew what happened. Recently, he did not mention it to the police because he could not guarantee his safety or his family. He denied being involved in any of these shootings, basically saying that he was linked to the gun through himself being shot. In his sentencing at the Old Bailey, Sarah Whitehouse described the acts as wicked, showing disregard for innocent members of the public. She raised also the extreme invasion efforts and the possibility of contract killings in a Hitman style. I need to give a little trigger warning on this one because it even choked me up trying to record this, what the family have been through. The bullets had hit that girl in the hip and foot, and one of the bullets in her hip has not been removed for medical reasons. In court, the girl's mother bravely went into the witness box to read out her victim impact statement. She said they were living in a nightmare, and it makes me feel sick that there is still a bullet inside my baby girl. Choking back emotion, she said the actions of Jazz Reed on the evening of 24th of November 2024 have completely shattered both the life of her and her families, and the impact on us still remains enormous more than a year on. I have frequent flashbacks to relive that evening every day. I carry the guilt of not being able to protect my little girl from what happened to her. On a day that we had spent surrounded by friends and family celebrating her birthday, they should have been about her and not about what it turned into because of this man. She said the woman whose partner has been paralyzed from the waist down has to live in a care home. The woman wearing a green Chicago sweatshirt said the incident has completely turned my daughter's life upside down. She's a shadow of the bubbly, bright, larger than life character she once was, and now rarely wants to go out and socialize, suffering with daily trauma and questioning why it happened. She said her daughter had flashbacks of that bad man and added whenever she hears a noise, she wants to know where it is in case it's the bad man again. The woman said that they used to go out to the park a lot and now her daughter does not want to go out. She talks about how the bad man hurt her. She wants him to be hurt. She's scared of the dark and sleeps with me. Films are turned off in case there are loud bangs and it has taken over her life. The woman said her daughter had even physically attacked her because she was so angry at what happened to her. I go to bed in tears, said the woman who was referring to the events of the shooting, and said I can hear and feel it. It went on forever. This literally choked me up and made me emotional even reading it out. My partner has gone from being a happy, active, social man to one who is unable to walk. The pain of seeing him like this is unbearable, she said. The woman said her partner's relationship with his children has been strained as a result of him having to live in a care home and see them only occasionally. She said, not only do I not have the physical presence of him, but I don't have the emotional support of him parenting their 4 children anymore. That is one of the saddest victim impact statements I've read out. This literally destroyed a family over what? So obviously the detectives realized that all 3 shootings were connected. They went through hundreds of hours of CCTV and compared it with cell site evidence from mobile phones and ANPR cameras which recognized the car number plate. They realized the Deliveroo rider who popped up on camera during all 3 incidents and managed to trace him back to where he got in his car and traveled to and from Uxbridge. Obviously they arrested him and after they would raid his home where they found 2 of the guns he had used, a loaded pistol buried under the concrete slab we spoke about, and Reed's DNA was found on the grip of the muzzle of the weapon. which was the same gun used in the final attack. His DNA was also found on the bullet casings from the Kennedy Wall shooting. The second gun used in the shootings was only discovered in December 2025, after his trial, as part of an unconnected investigation. The story he said about being set up because of that £10,000 drug debt and having a gambling issue, the jury did not believe him. In November 2025, he was convicted of attempted murder, 2 counts of wounding with intent, and 3 counts of possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life, and 3 counts of possession of ammunition with intent to endanger life. They said there was mitigation in the speech, where Reed had a tough childhood, badly been affected by the death of his father in 2024. The prosecution said Reed's level of dangerousness was so high he deserved a life sentence. And it also pointed to his denial of guilt. He didn't even admit it, despite being convicted unanimously by a jury. The judge actually said, "I've concluded a life sentence is not justified, but I will give an extended sentence." She sentenced Reed to 43 years, 38 years in custody, plus an extended term of 5 years on license. He'll have to serve 2/3 of the 38 years, minus the 14 months he spent on remand. By the calculations on here, he could be free by 2050, which is only 24 years away. Obviously, the people he ruined their lives, but no one has died in it. She told Reed, "You may be carrying out a contract killing on behalf of others, perhaps for the payment to pay off your debt." So he was a rapper when he was younger, and the numbers were pretty good, to be fair, for an up-and-coming local rapper, and didn't get to the heights where he could fully pursue it, but he wasn't also the most active like we see with many of these guys. There was another case that he was dragged into. Obviously, he spent a lot of time in prison, would have stalled his rap career anyway.
Can't believe what I've seen, but it's life and it gets real. Do you know what it's like when your close ones go? And when it's that time, see your close ones fold? You see, life's no joke. No money or canteen, I can't buy no soap. We're hurting inside, but we say we don't. We're all different, especially in the way we cope. Live and learn from your mistakes is what makes you grow. Live and learn from your mistakes is what makes you grow.
He was actually talking about the stuff he's been through and was quite aware in a lot of the lyrics he was making, but he didn't learn from his own mistakes. He was saying here that learn from your mistakes and grow, but he didn't. He continued to live a life of crime. Because the main story that we're talking about in today's video wasn't the first time that he had gone prison. Ladbroke Grove gang members from Harlesden and Kilburn jailed for drug dealing is the article that come out. It said 2 students from Harlesden and Kilburn were part of a drug dealing gang operation Ladbroke Grove and were sent to jail, and he was one of the people named in this. It said that a 19-year-old and 22-year-old, the Crown Court heard that 7 men sold crack cocaine and heroin from a flat after they forcibly took it over last November. All were arrested and police stormed the property, and they were found guilty of conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. Now, they all denied their involvement, was eventually found guilty, and he was only 21 at the time of this situation and was handed a 5-year sentence. So that was his previous going into this situation. So getting a 5-year prison sentence at the age of just 21 would scare most people and force you to come out of that lifestyle, but he obviously chose not to. Actually, weighing up the timelines makes things make a lot more sense in terms of his rap career, because he was around 19 or 20 when he's briefly known as a rapper, and it was by 21 that he was already going to prison and caught up in his case. He could have even been on remand. That's obviously why he stopped. Just before he was about to get arrested for this serious case, there was actually a comment after one of the last videos that he released saying, "Wonder what happened to them," and then he got dragged into this mess. And you guys remember early on in this video I spotted a lyric that was interesting. On this one there was another lyric as well, where he basically says that he is not going back to prison in the ad-lib of the song.
They wanna see me dead, but I just wanna make my bread. They wanna see me dead or see me locked up in the pen. I ain't going back.
Even if he does eventually get released in 2050 and comes out on that early time frame, he's going to have spent most of his life in prison with the other cases and this time as well, and he has ruined completely a family, and the police are saying he's danger to society as a whole.
Reed caused serious injuries to 2 men and a young girl who'd been celebrating her 8th birthday with friends and loved ones. He also endangered the lives of others, and London is a safer place as a result of the significant sentence handed to him today.